Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Inside Mallard, the world's fastest steam locomotive, Curator with a camera. I have to admit, I thought like steam locomotives were a thing of the past. I didn't know that they still made them and still apparently they're fast. I had no idea. Looks very interesting. Let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Bob Gwynn and we're here at the National Railway Museum, and today we're going to have a look at Mallard.
Oh, okay. It looks so tiny. As I was expecting. The front part looks quite futuristic. Like a normal train, one of those fast trains probably.
Okay, this is Mallard. It's built in 1938 and it's a London North Eastern Railway A4 Pacific locomotive. So thanks to this magic stick in front of me, we're going to have a much closer look at Mallard today and find out more about it. Well, Mallard, apart from a beautiful shape and it's this beautiful colour,
I love the colour.
You know, is very famous for being the fastest steam locomotive in the world. 3rd of July 1938, this locomotive attained a world speed record for steam traction of 126 miles an hour.
That's a lot.
We're going to talk about that record because it's an interesting story. In 1938, steam was still king in the UK, but fundamentally, what you've got
I'm scared about the fumes. How did these people made it?
Is rivalry between the two big railway companies in Britain at that time, with Mallard from the London and North Eastern Railway, and then Duchess, which is from the London Midland and
Is that a locomotive? It looks extremely strange. It looks like a coffin, but in a good way.
Scottish Railway. And what happened was that Sir Nigel Gresley, who was the chief engineer of the London North Eastern Railway, he was in conversation with a fellow called Norman Newsom, and he said to him, "What do you reckon? Can we beat the LMS?" And Newsom said, "Well, I reckon we can." So what they did was they got...
That's such a British thing. I reckon we can. Let's go for it. Sure.
A real whip-hand driver called Joe Duddington, who was 61, and his fireman Tommy Bray was big muscles, and they got an inspector called Sam Jenkins, and they set off with the train, and that was it. Off you go.
So easy, okay.
As you can see from the outside of it, it's a beautiful streamlined shape. It's been formed in a way that makes it cut through the air very smoothly. They developed the streamlined shape in a laboratory where they had a plasticine model of this kind of engine. And the problem was...
These days you would do this in a computer model, I would assume. But it's interesting, it's physics, probably, so it shouldn't surprise me. But the shape, it's the same as modern trains. So it works. It has that shape because it works and it actually makes trains faster.
That the smoke was not lifting from the chimney and it was drifting over where the driver and fireman would sit. One time they put this plasticine model into the smoke chamber to blow some smoke over it and see what happened. All the smoke started to lift, and what they discovered was that somebody had put a thumbprint accidentally behind the chimney, and that slight depression created a vortex that lifted the smoke clear of the cab.
Okay.
And that thumbprint is there to this day on Mallard.
It's a happy accident.
The Mallard's full of...
It's crazy that this technological advances happen by accident.
interesting secrets, really. And really what's important about it is what you can't see. It may be streamlined on the outside, but on the inside, the cylinders here, there's 3 sets across the engine, and it's been designed so that there's no back pressure, so that you can go as fast as you possibly can with it. What else can we see on the outside? Well, because it's streamlined, there's a few things that are a bit more difficult. So the front end here, you've got to actually open that up to get any char and thing that's come through the tubes. To open it up, you actually need a key. The key goes in here. You wind that up and it opens the flap up so that you can basically get any of the rubbish that's come out from the fire up
That seems weird, but I think probably it's a safety thing because you're not going to open this on purpose, and that's why you need a key. So actually, it's probably a safety thing, so you wouldn't accidentally. I don't know how you would accidentally do this, but who knows? Better safe to be than to be sorry.
To the chimney and ended up in that space out so that locomotive works correctly.
Yeah.
There are a couple of other things because, of course, it's streamlined. You've got to oil all the different bits on it. So it's actually.
And who was oiling all of this? Was it the driver, or did they have a mechanic on board that did all of these things?
Actually got the oiling points are actually, there's a little sort of door. You have to open the door to get into where you oil the motion.
And how you would oil it? With your hands? Obviously you use gloves, but like I just stick my hand and I oil things, or do they have a brush? I don't know. I have so many questions.
Because every little moving part, you know, it's all going to require oil on it.
Oh my God.
Down here you've got the thing that puts sand under the wheels, that allows the wheels to stick a bit better on the rails if you have a problem with wet rails. Because don't forget, the contact patch on a locomotive is only really the size of a thumbnail on the wheel. It's a tiny amount. So why is it called Mallard? Well, when this was built, Sir Nigel Gresley lived in
there were mallards?
house that had a moat around it. There's a picture of him feeding his ducks. And a number of these locomotives were named after birds. So there's a mallard, there's an osprey, and so on. So it's just basically a nice name, and it suggests something going swiftly through the air. I think it's probably...
If I'm thinking of birds going swiftly in the air, I wouldn't think of a mallard specifically, but you know, I get the spirit behind this.
Good time to have a look on the cab of the locomotive and just have a look at what Joe Duddington did on that day in July 1938.
This looks incredibly well preserved. Well, it's not that old. It's 1938. It wasn't like that long ago.
A lot of people don't get. You get people peering in through the window to have a look, but we're very privileged now because we're in the cab. Let's have a look at how this machine works. Let's start off.
Everything looks so incredibly shiny. It looks new. All those pipes, I'm going to assume they're pipes. I have no idea what they are, but they look shiny. They look new.
Off with the most important bit, which is a very large fire, which is in there. A ton of coal burning.
Did they have to put the coals inside of it in each? Oh, it's been 10 minutes. Go, put the coal.
Very white hot. I mean, here's some coal, you know, a ton of that burning white hot.
I think that's so dangerous.
And you
probably it's like gas. You know, oh, it's gonna take me how many liters of gas is gonna get me to this amount of miles, and you know that I have to put gas. Maybe in this case it was the same. I know that this amount of coal is gonna get me 100 miles, and then I have to put more coal.
You've got a fireman with his shovel.
Actually, of course, that's why they needed a fireman. It was because it's hot. It's dangerous.
There's his shovel. What he's doing is he's firing, in LNER terms, over the flap. He's firing in there, and he's got to get coal into the corners of the firebox on both sides, right to the back.
It's
the fire in there.
I'm worried about these people were burning, sweating, they were passing out because it must have been very, very, very hot and no air conditioning, obviously. So these poor people
would be so hot. That's why there's kind of baffle plates here to protect the driver sat here so that the heat doesn't get to him. So he's responsible.
Even with that, I would assume it got super hot in this cabin. It's like, oh my God, please take the wheel. I'm going to pass out.
For that, he's responsible for keeping the water levels. This shows you how much water there is in the boiler, and the water level
they have a boiler, of course.
Sort of 3/4 of a glass, sort of up here to up here. And really...
they were sweating so much, it was like, fill it with my sweats. Seriously.
His controls are put the water into the boiler and keep the fire glowing absolutely white hot.
Technically, it seems like very easy instructions, but it's easier said than done because under those conditions, must have been crazy.
The driver's on this side, and what he's got 3 main controls. He's got his regulator, which is basically what lets power go into the machine. You know, it's the thing that lets the steam go from the boiler to the cylinders. So it's, if you like, it's like the accelerator. On this one, it's kind of beautifully sculpted. It's got that sort of curved end to it, so you hold it really nicely. And then he's got his brake, very important.
Yes.
And the brake,
it's all manual, so no pedals. Okay.
this shows you how much brake he's got on. He should be on 21 inches of mercury up here when it's running.
Okay.
Steam chest,
seems like a lot.
pressure gauge. This would be changing as you went along based on the steam in the cylinders.
That's when they make the sound, the particular sound.
The actual steam gauge up here, right round red mark, 250 pounds per square inch. You'd really want to see it round on the red stop, as close to the red stop as you can, because that's giving you the maximum amount of steam to use.
What happens if you go past the 250, was it? Is it going to explode? I'd be scared.
In the machine. And he's got his reverser down here, which the reverse is the thing that basically gives you full forward gear, and then you can adjust it. So you're using less steam going into the cylinders. That's
sort of like an automatic transmission. Not reverse, as in we're going backwards. It's probably more like an automatic transmission. That's what I'm picturing it.
fundamentally the driver's control.
Like cruise control.
Behind us, of course, we've got a few other things. In here, you've got a coal space.
8 tons. That doesn't seem like a lot of Am I crazy to think? No, it is actually. It is actually a large amount of coal. I'm crazy. No, never mind. It is big. It's like 2 elephants or something.
So the coal space, all of that would be coal, and underneath it in the tanks is water.
It's quite
and of
heavy.
course, best of all, you've got this shelf which you keep your oil cans on there so the oil remains viscous, but of course you can also keep your billy can on there so you've got hot tea at all times. And some
hopefully they're not mistaking the tea with the oil, because that would be a disaster.
Eastern people used to put an onion on there to roast, so
What?
you know you could use it however you want. It's yours.
What am I going to do with an onion? It's going to smell. What am I supposed to do with this? Eat it? A roasted onion with nothing? Salt? That's weird, right? No, I think British people actually do eat that. It's still kind of weird.
Your kind of means of getting tea on the go, which is an important part of any railwayman's life.
This is such a British thing. I don't know how would they drink tea with this amount of heat. It's way too hot for tea. Please give me water or some cold beverage.
What would it be like when it was running in normal service? Well, you wouldn't want to touch any of these.
It's hot.
These would burn you.
Yes.
These would be
Of course.
very hot. And it would also be rattling and banging. So you've got that kind of banging, clattering,
A lot of
hissing,
noise.
roaring sound at all times. It's a very different environment to the quite clinical environments of a driver experiences today. And
I would
we're
assume.
very privileged. There are people who are
Yes.
still prepared to go out and drive these big machines at speed on the main line. Well, what did Duddington do on that day to break that record? Well, he sat here ready to go, and he's got the fireman Tommy Brace working hard to make that fire really, really hot. Duddington has got the regulator in his hand and is ready to set off. The one other thing that Duddington does is wearing a flat hat, and so the story goes, he's ready to go, and he turns the hat the other way round so the brim's at the back so it doesn't blow off in the wind if he's looking around. Blows the whistle. And the day starts.
That's the
That
sound.
record-breaking run starts. So he storms up Stoke Bank, comes out on the top, and just keeps it wide open. Speed increases because it's also dropping
Is this a clip from the actual day? It's crazy.
from there on. As they're dropping down, the speed has gone up to 120 miles an hour. He doesn't know that. He knows he's going very fast. Because actually on here, the speedometer, it is fitted with a speedo. It's under the fireman's seat over there. That's the speedometer. It's actually a French device, a flabbed speed recorder. And that thing's got a paper trace in it. It's like a tachograph, really.
Oh my God.
And in France, they were known as the snitch because they snitched on drivers.
I can see
At
why.
120 miles an hour, they know they've beaten the LMS. They know they're traveling very fast. Because
I would be like, don't tell me how much we're doing because it's just fast. But do not look at the speedometer because no, I don't want to know. Just let me do my thing.
Because actually attached to the locomotive behind is a dynamometer car which has very accurate speedometers on it and means of measuring speed, which is what really recorded what Mallard was doing on that day in 1938. And the people from the dynamometer car were saying, well, it looks like the maximum was 125 miles an hour, but it was, in the end, a world record for steam locomotion, which has never been beaten.
Wow.
And it was delivered by a crew that really wanted to succeed. They were a very good team on the LNER. So to this day, we think of Mallard, quite rightly, as the fastest steam locomotive in the world.
Because it is. It's definitely the fastest.
Thanks for watching. Join me next time when we have a good look in the dynamometer car. There are more episodes of Curator with a Camera coming, so do subscribe so you don't miss them.
Okay, I think this was very interesting. I think 1938. It's really not. At first, I thought, wow, 1938. That's so old, but it isn't really. I don't think so. Maybe I'm off. But 1938 doesn't seem that long ago to me. It's just what 80 years, around 80 years or so. It's less than it's not, again, it's not really that old. It's not, again, great feat, but it's really not that old. So it's kind of, well, it's in modern, semi-recent, maybe not modern. It would be crazy to call this modern, although I think it's quite modern, the whole technology thing and the whole thing that they were actually doing and the feat itself. I think like that's what it is. Wow, what a great technological advance. But again, it's not really that, oh, it happened 200 years ago. No, it isn't like that. But it's enough time to be, wow, quite a feat. Obviously, I think this would still be quite a feat, like if someone like attempted to do this in this day and age. But still, I just want to point that out. It's really not that old. I think it's still, what's actually crazy to me is if going by the whole, well, it wasn't that long ago. How many advances this whole the train industry, probably, can I call it the train industry? I don't know if it exists. The trains themselves and this industry has had, because even if you look at like the coal thing, oh, there you have someone literally grabbing coals and just pouring them. Oh, you have to keep it hot, so keep the coals. That's crazy. That looks very old timey. And the whole thing, I think that's probably the most crazy thing to me. Yes, there was a literal someone being like, yeah, you have to put more coals. It's okay. How I have questions. I again, maybe dumb questions, but I don't really know anything about locomotives or trains in general. But what happened if you wanted to slow down? Would you tell the guy, your coal guy, if you were the driver, hey, no, take out the coals. I wanna go a little bit. I wanna slow down. So would the guy need to take out the coals? That doesn't seem right to me. Just because it looks dangerous. It's already like the coal is very, very hot, and it's already a very dangerous process. So I'm not going to take out the coals, but again, I'm wondering what would happen if you wanna. No, hold on. We're going way too fast. We're doing 200, I don't know, like it's way too much. We need to slow down, take out the coals. So I don't know what would do it, because obviously they have the brakes, but I would assume the brakes, it's for actual, like there's an emergency. I don't know what kind of emergency it could have been. I'm trying to think of like when you're driving a car, there's like a deer passing, you're like, oh, I have to like press on my brakes. No, but I would assume it's sort of like a gradual thing. It wasn't something that I would just like brake, because the thing, I don't know, that seems dangerous as well. You're not gonna brake on one go. So I would assume no, take out the coals, but maybe not. Maybe they just poured water in the coals. I'm trying to think how you would actually slow this thing down with measure. Obviously, eventually it's gonna lose steam, it's gonna lose power. The whole thing, it's gonna slow down. But I'm wondering if like the driver would have been like, no, slow down, take out the coals. This seems like a very dangerous job. Obviously, the driver I think has like the easier part. I don't know, like easier in the sense of they have to, obviously they have to steer the thing, which I would assume it's probably not that, it's not that, they don't have that many curves, I would assume. And it's obviously he's in control, like he's the pilot, he's the equivalent of yeah, of like the pilot. But I think like the hardest job out of, and I'm not saying that's easy, but I think he had like the easiest job out of out of everyone, because I think the cold person, that my god, again, I can't imagine the unbearable heat, and I think it would be very dangerous, just because, you know, obviously it's your job, you're probably used to this, but it's gonna be like a really tough job. Well, probably we don't that job doesn't exist anymore, but in those way back in the day, I would assume that this is a very, very tough job. You have to be very careful about the coal. It's hot. It's hot as in like this whole cabin, it's hot. And I have to be careful while I have to manage the coals, and I have to manipulate the coals. Of course, it's gonna be, I'm wondering like burns came with the whole like trick of the trade. It's like, yes, I burned myself a few times, it's okay, hopefully nothing too serious, but I would assume people, well, maybe not, maybe just people that I'm gonna do this until the day I die, that I would assume, well, shouldn't you actually would be the opposite, and you would do this for just a few amount of years because it's a really tough job, so you kind of like retire early. But probably wasn't the case. I think these people were like, well no, we are made of sturdier stuff. We're good. I'm gonna stop when I die. Maybe that was the case, but I think I would love to know the experience of one of the cold guy, because it looked dangerous. It looked scary. I'm wondering how many accidents they actually, like, have you ever been on an accident? Probably all of them had been, because it was just a thing of, yes, you know, it kind of goes with the job. And also I think the locomotive itself, were there any crashes? Was it a dangerous situation besides of the coal situation? Because I would assume, yes, it's dangerous for the one handling the coals, but is it also dangerous for the driver itself, or for anyone that was in there? Probably, maybe not. Again, the thing like makes me like very scared about the whole thing is that I'm scared of the thing blowing up for some reason, caught in fire, and just like, oh, this is burning. Oh, it caught on fire. Now it's burning. Maybe I'm totally like, this is not a thing that happened, but I'm worried. And just when he was explaining the whole thing, because especially the whole thing, oh, this is the steam, and obviously you have to be very careful, and you have to look at the actual timing, and be, you know, there's obviously certain parameters that you probably had to be aware of. Oh, I can't let it go past 200. I can't let it go past this 100. And whatever, there were obviously things that they needed to control. But what happened if something went wrong and you needed to, I don't know, do something? It's like, this thing's going way too fast and I can't just brake. And again, it's cold, it's very hot. So this looks like a very dangerous situation. It looks like the perfect place to have an accident. So that's why I'm worried, and I'm worried retroactively, because I know all of these things had happened, and if those accidents happened, they already happened. But I'll be scared, and I'm a little cautious about the whole thing, because it's like, well, I don't know about you, but I'm scared about this whole thing cutting on fire. It's a cool thing, and it's a fire that's making me think this way. So maybe I'm off, and it's not really how the thing worked, but just by the simple explanation, my mind goes to, this is caught on fire. This is gonna caught on fire, and we're gonna have a fire, and it's gonna be a disaster, and we're all gonna die. But again, maybe it's not that extreme. Again, maybe what happened is the thing went faster. I think it was like the whole like 250, and you couldn't go past 250, and the steam was going like way too, and it was doing this, and you would need to know, I need to cool this down. How would you cool it down? How would you slow down? It looks like a nightmare. And probably, again, the accidents weren't really that were uncommon. They weren't something that happened like every single day. But I don't know. I'm thinking about this. It's okay. Please let me know how many accidents. Not specifically probably the Mallard, because probably didn't. Obviously, it looks intact. It looks crazy perfect. You would think like this was made yesterday. So probably not the Mallard itself, but maybe some other like locomotives in which crazy accidents happened. I don't know. Just I want to know, because I'm curious about it, and maybe I have to like relieve my fears, and someone needs to tell me, no, it's fine. It's super safe. But the Mallard itself, it's incredibly well preserved. I would love to know when was the actual when was the last trip it took? When was the last time someone took this for a spin? Because it looks perfect. I think maybe obviously it's been taken care of, and probably there's people that obviously they clean it and I don't know, they oil the thing, but it looks so incredibly perfect that you would feel, oh, I feel like this was built again last week, because everything looks shiny, everything looks perfect, all the actual components looked perfect, and they don't look a day old, they just look perfect, and that's it. Maybe they sort of did a reconstruction at some point, and because I'm guessing this isn't a museum, so I would assume no, they have to like switch out the parts, because again, coal, one thing coal does is take everything, because it's coal, it's gonna get black and grimy. So I would assume no, it's probably they had to not just clean it. Probably there are some certain parts that they needed to be reconstructed, probably, and they switched it out, and they, I don't know, they did a recreation, and because this was going to the museum, so it's like no, we actually need to we need this to be like in this perfect, like shiny perfect thing. So we actually needed to, like, a lot of the components were probably stained, dirty, and were past beyond being salvageable. So they had to like replace certain things. Obviously, it was like the original, but we had to like replace the things for new pieces. In just for this to obviously, you know, we have like this, of course. So it's like, yeah, it's perfect. But also, if I don't know what kind of museum this is, but I would assume you can only look at the outside. I think because obviously he has like special permission, he actually got to like go inside. I would assume you as a visitor are not able to do this. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe you would just know. You're only able to sort of like look at the exterior, and they'll show you pictures of how the inside looks, but you're not able to look at this. But yeah, I would love to know actually where exactly is this located? I'm guessing obviously it's in the UK, but is it a museum this specifically designed, or specifically with the London, I think it was the East London Company, something of the sort? They only have trains and locomotives and stuff from that company, or is this like a more, like a bigger museum and it has stuff from other companies and stuff? We'd love to know, because it looks very interesting. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!